Oh, OMG. Ay, Dios mío. I'm actually here in Ybor City, Tampa, Florida today. What? You're not in New York? Yeah, that's right, I get out every now and then. I'm actually here in my hometown of Tampa, Florida, and that's where we're going to be doing a tour today. Isn't that great? And look, I realize that there's a lot to cover in this city, and I'm not going to be able to cover it all, so chill out, because I'm here visiting family and stuff, so geez, cut me a break. But I'm going to start by giving you a little overview of the neighborhood, meet some people, show you some cool stuff, and we're going to start here in Ybor City. Before we start with the tour, I just wanted to remind you, if you could, just go ahead and like the video, give it a little thumbs up, that helps a lot, helps with the analytics, as does subscribing. It takes very little effort, do that. And also, too, please check out the Patreon. That helps a lot. I'm trying to grow this thing, trying to, build it, so that helps. But sorry to get all that business out of the way, just thought I'd throw it out there. But I think we're going to do a tour here of Tampa. It's going to be great. Actually, I have my brother Silvio behind the camera. How you doing, Silvio?
Doing great.
Love the enthusiasm. That's great. All right, well, I guess we're going to get started. I don't know. You ready to do this thing?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, take it easy. We got a lot of ground to cover. Well, with that, I guess let's get started. Let's go. Okay. So we're actually leaving the site of the Círculo Cubano. El Círculo Cubano, hombre. This is right here. El Círculo Cubano is actually a Cuban club. A lot of Cuban clubs back in the day in the early 1900s when there were tons of Cubans here. There's still tons of Cubans in Florida. In fact, there's like 1.2, 1.3 million in the state of Florida, which is by far the most of any state in the United States. A lot of them came here to Tampa to participate in the industries that were here. Specifically one, cigars. They called Tampa Cigar City because at one point Tampa actually was producing over 500 million cigars a year from its over 200 cigar making businesses. That's pretty insane. And these clubs were started to kind of cater to these people, help them, land in a new place, meet friends, find jobs, all that stuff. Really cool. Play dominoes, get to play some dominoes. All right, we're gonna cross here. But in fact, that site over there, they have a little plaque. Jose Marti, who was actually a Cuban revolutionary leader. Cuban Revolution started in 1868. They eventually were acquired by the United States. In the Spanish-American War of 1898, we'll talk about that. But he was actually poisoned nearby there, and his Spanish agents who poisoned him, they felt so bad. He actually knew it was poison, so he spit it out, but it was a little late. He still got sick, and the Spanish agents kind of repented and eventually joined the cause. They turned and joined the cause. Here, let's get over here so we get out of the light. So this building here today is the Scientology building. Yikes. But before, this was actually Vicente Ybor's building. So Vicente Ybor is the guy who's kind of credited with founding this neighborhood today, but it was actually kind of like a little town back in the day. And he founded it in 1886. He built his first actual cigar making business like around this area. And it was housed in this building for a very long time. And at one point was the largest cigar making business in the world. Pretty insane. Today it's the Scientology Center. So if you want to go take a personality test, you know where to go. So he came in 1886 to basically set up shop as a cigar manufacturer. A Spanish guy he knew came here earlier came here to Tampa to scout it out for guava making. And he went back to Ybor and told him, hey dude, I know you make cigars, this might be a good place to go. At the time he was in Key West. Key West was actually a pretty significant city at the time. And he was like, yeah, I don't want to deal here in Key West anymore. And the Board of Trade here in Tampa allowed him to kind of like, favorable terms for a business owner, if you want to put it that way, pay your employees less, that kind of thing. Some things never change, but he came here, he moved here, 1886, and other ones followed. Spanish and Cubans followed and set up their businesses here. How's the lighting here?
It's getting a little dark.
Now we can change that. We're learning, baby, we're learning. This is great. This is how you do it, on the fly. So we're walking down towards 7th Ave, which is kind of the main drag here in Ybor City. So in 1886, he sets up his shop. Now at that time, Ybor City was kind of its own city. Tampa was very, very small for a very long time. So I wanted to show you guys this cool thing here to the left. This here is Parque Amigos de Jose Marti, Park the Friends of Jose Marti. Jose Marti is that guy on that statue right there. But what's cool is this park is actually considered part of Cuba. It's actually considered Cuban land. So this is Cuba here. You ever want to travel to Cuba and you can't afford the plane ticket, just come here so then you can impress your, all your Instagram followers. You take a picture in this park and be like, yo, I'm in Cuba. And they'll be like, that's not Cuba. You'll be like, yeah, it is. Stop commenting. I'm going to block you. All right, there's the flag. Pretty cool. And we're going to take a left here onto 7th Ave here and walk down 7th Ave. All right, so we're coming up here onto 7th Avenue, which is kind of the main drag here, Ybor City. And then we're going to walk to the east. There we go. All right, so this is 7th Avenue. So Tampa became a city in the year 1849. Florida, as a state, didn't really become a U.S. state until the year 1845, which is actually very late. Florida was the last state east of the Mississippi to become a U.S. state. Now, one of the reasons is that Florida was always kind of considered a backwater. The Spanish held on to Florida for a very long time. In fact, they lost Florida in 1763 to the British during the French and Indian War. And the British took it from the Spanish until 1783 after the American Revolution. I don't know if you know about that thing. It's where the United States won its independence. And as part of the Treaty of Paris, they had to give it back to the Spanish. So they gave it back to the Spanish, and the Spanish held on to it for a while. And because it was Spanish, it was actually kind of a, kind of another backwater. It was a big haven for escaped slaves. They would come here. So eventually they traded it to the United States. The United States actually had bought Louisiana in 1803, the Louisiana Purchase. You guys remember your 5th grade history? Which I don't, but I've made up for it since. They bought Louisiana in 1803 and actually cut off the Spanish from Mexico. So Florida was even worth less to it. So they eventually give it to the United States in 1821, it becomes a territory, and once again becomes kind of a pain in the ass for the Americans. Like I said, lots of escaped slaves. The Seminoles here, and the Creek Indians here, were a huge, problem for the Americans because they were not happy that they were being pushed around or whatever, so they fought back. There were multiple Seminole wars. In fact, early on, Andrew Jackson kind of came in here and tried to clean things up. He was the territorial governor here for a very brief time. But it was a real pain in the butt, so no one really wanted to move here. One of the big things that helped make Tampa what it is the railroad. In fact, in 1884, I almost said 1804, which is the wrong date. I got it, thank you. In 1884, a man named Henry B. Plant, opened his railroad here in Tampa. He connected it to Tampa. And when he did that, he made Tampa kind of connected to everything else. And it was for this reason, actually, that the Centro Ebor wanted to create his cigars here. So Henry Plant sets up shop here. He actually created a very beautiful hotel there called the Tampa Hotel, which is today the University of Tampa. I'll show you some nice B-roll in here. There you go, you can see that. That's really cool. It's technology, baby. I know what I'm doing. Really high-powered operation. I had my brother carrying the camera. We drove here before going to have dinner with my parents. But anyways, he opens the railroad, 1800s. That connects this area, and it starts to kind of be a thing slowly. But one of the big things that grew it was the Spanish-American War in 1898. So in case you guys don't know, the USS Maine exploded off the coast of Cuba in 1898, and so begins this drumbeat for war. In fact, William Randolph Hearst, if you guys ever seen the movie Citizen Kane, is based on William Randolph Hearst. He was like the owner of all these different magazines and newspapers. He starts beating the drum for war. Careful for that step, Silvio. Don't want to hurt my little brother. My mama would be real mad at me. So he starts beating the drum for war, as does Joseph Pulitzer, who owns lots of papers as well. They go to war with Spain and win pretty easily, actually, because by that point Spain had been pretty decimated. It was kind of a third-rate power. And when they did that, they got Cuba. They didn't really want to do anything with it, so they kind of let it go. But in the process, this town actually becomes a really important thing, so, because this was where people shipped out to fight in that war. It was pretty cool. Check it out. There's people on their bikes and stuff. That's our ride to my parents' dinner. Where was I before I was interrupted by those incredibly loud motorcycles, which are pretty cool still. They're pretty cool. I'll give them that. They're pretty sick. So anyways, 1898, actually this became the ship-off point for the actual war in Cuba. In fact, Teddy Roosevelt came here and he stayed at the Tampa Hotel, as did Clara Barton, who founded the Red Cross. It was a really big deal. He shipped off, the Rough Riders shipped off from Tampa. The population exploded during this time. Lighting? How is it? Bright?
Yeah, I'm playing with it back and forth.
You're doing a great job, Silvio. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
I'm getting paid, right?
Yeah, you're gonna get paid a lot of money. Monies, getting paid a lot of monies. We're walking by Centro Ebor here, which is a kind of a cool little area. Little shops and stuff. There's a stand-up comedy club. No big deal, I do stand-up every now and then. Please hire me. So we're here, actually, the sign, you can see it says Centro Español de Tampa. Ay, 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 ay. That's this building right here. There was actually another one of these clubs that I was telling you about. So these clubs are formed whenever you have lots of immigrants popping into a place. Spanish were another group that came here. And I was telling you guys about the Spanish-American War. Well, the Spanish were also here in big numbers too. That created a big problem. Now it's actually, we gotta get the hell out of here because before this music gets into our video, they'll give us copyright strikes, those YouTube bastards. Please don't hurt me, YouTube. Please, algorithm, save me, God. All hail, all-powerful algorithm. So the Spanish and the Cubans were here at the same time, and this is like 1868. 1868, the revolution started, but all throughout the late 1800s, they were going back and forth, so there was lots of tension here in Ybor City between the Spanish and the Cubans. It was really cool to check out this car that's about to pass by. Pretty sick. Pretty sick. I got a car just like it. Mine has lightning bolts on the side. So the Spanish and the Cubans are arguing and fighting a lot. In fact, a lot of Cubans wouldn't work with Spanish in a lot of the many cigar rolling places here in the late 1800s. The actual cigar rolling places, this is kind of cool. They had things called lectores. So while they were rolling their cigars, and you had like 100 people in there rolling cigars, you would have this guy up in like a little podium. He would read the news to everybody so they could hear the latest news of what's going on in Cuba and stuff. It's a pretty cool way to, like, you know, stay like the earliest podcasts, you know? Before it was all, you know, that's like if Joe Rogan was up in like a little pulpit talking to people. A lot of these buildings are very, very old. And they date back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, when this was a very happening place. Now in the 1930s, the Ybor City kind of hit its decline for a couple reasons. Cigar's machinery was starting to improve. They didn't need hand-rolled cigars anymore. Also, too, after World War II, industry, we're getting bright here. You all right?
Yep.
All right, nice work, man. You're catching on. Phil's got some competition.
Coming for you, Phil.
All right, you said it, not me. Anyways, after World War II, you had a lot of, you want to get on this side? Industries to leave the cities anyway, because highways were developed, the automobile was kind of picking up. Funny enough, though, the automobile was also one of the reasons why Florida also started to pick up. See, it says Go Bolts over there. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay Lightning actually won the Stanley Cup last time around. And the Bucks won the Super Bowl. Go figure, Tampa's got some sports teams that do pretty well. Oh, look at that. All right, I don't want to rub it in too much for anyone watching from other places, but they got good sports teams here, what can I say? This is a pretty cool building next to me. This is the Italian Club. You can see it here on the other side. Another one of these clubs for like Italians. A lot of Italians were coming over from, whoa, careful with that step. We're coming over from places like Sicily and southern Italy in the late 1800s. Remember, Italy, I've talked about this in the videos for Little Italy, for example. Oh, sick plug, baby, come on. But anyways, they were coming over from Italy and immigrating because conditions were pretty bad there. People forget that Italy wasn't even fully unified until the year 1870. And with that came a lot of economic problems, specifically in southern Italy. Let's keep moving. This is kind of cool. So this here is called Gaspars Grotto, named after Jose Gaspar, who's actually a pirate, a real pirate, who was a former Spanish Navy member who left the Navy to start becoming a pirate and make money off that. In fact, Florida was always a haven for pirates. It was also a haven for like criminals and bootleggers during Prohibition, specifically Tampa. Hey, what's up, guys?
My name is Nanya.
Nanya. I know your last name. I think I've met you before. Mr. Nanya to you. Great. The old Nanya business joke. Gets him every time. I got a feeling that guy's a dad, and probably not a good one. That's mean. I'm just kidding. I don't know that guy. Anyways, we're walking, and I was talking about how Jose Gaspar was a pirate. He actually, it was interesting, in the early 1800s, he was going to give up pirating. He was like, all right, I'm good, I made a lot of money. And his crew was like, come on, man, one last go. So they said, all right. So they saw this ship, and they were going to go attack this ship. And it turns out it was actually a Navy ship, disguised as a merchant ship. And he gets totally screwed. and he jumps off to avoid getting caught, and he drowns. So what's interesting, though, is he died, this is early 1800s. In the early 1900s, the owner of the Tampa Tribune at the time needed to come up with a new festival to attract people to Tampa. So he charged this woman with coming up with an idea. And she came up with this, the Gasparilla Festival. It's done every year in February during winter. Let's get up here. To celebrate Jose Gaspar, I guess, but mostly to draw people here. And interestingly enough, she was friends with a guy who was from Louisiana when she developed the idea, and so they took elements of Mardi Gras. So they throw beads and do all kinds of stuff. They have like crews which are similar to the crews of Mardi Gras. All this music out here is really gonna try our luck with copyrights. All right, so I crossed back over. Turns out we got a better view here, so chill out. It's movie magic. Anyways, you can see these cool buildings with the little balconies on there. But one of the interesting things about Gasparilla, I was telling you, for the night parade that goes through here, but the actual regular parade goes through Bayshore, which I'll show you, maybe, if you're good, later in the video. Well, we've been talking about cigars here, but cigars was one of the main industries here. In Florida, too, and nearby here, another big industry was phosphate. They discovered phosphate in the late 1800s. That was another big industry. And of course, citrus. Citrus is a huge industry here in Florida. It's like the citrus, Florida, actually, this is kind of an interesting fact. The only places in the world that actually export more citrus than Florida, Brazil and China, two massive countries, more than little Florida. Florida has 70% of all the citrus in the United States. Here you can see another building, Naviera Coffee Mills. There's a coffee mill here till just a few years ago, 1921 this was built. Pretty crazy, the years here. Now keep in mind, Florida and Tampa is very young, even compared to other United States cities and states. We're gonna pop in and actually visit a friend of mine who actually has a cigar shop here. He's gonna talk to us more about the cigars here in Tampa and Ybor City. Isn't that sick? Are we ready to do this? Oh, and also right over there is the Columbia restaurant. Columbia restaurant's over there on the corner. 1905, the oldest Spanish restaurant in the United States. I went to high school with the guy who owns that. Maybe he can give me a job. All right, that's pathetic. Let's go in here. So I'm here with my friend Peter, who runs the Metropolitan cigar shop here in Ybor City, historic. Now, tell me about this shop. It's pretty old, right?
Yep. We're the oldest store in Ybor right now. But it originally started as a pharmacy down about a block that way in 1915.
What do you like so much about cigars?
One, I like the way they taste, and that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. I remember when I started smoking, I was 16.
Wait, but that's illegal.
Shut up.
What's the hardest part about running a business for yourself?
Hang on a sec. You're supposed to drop this off like 5 hours ago.
Well, there's the hardest part. You got to take mail while you're doing an interview with a super high-powered YouTube show. This is a great store, so let's take a look at some stuff, and you can recommend me a cigar, and we can go smoke it. Is that what they say in the cigar world?
No.
So we're looking at some cigars now. What's the difference between a hand-rolled cigar and a machine-rolled cigar?
So machine-rolled cigars typically chopped up tobacco, a lot like a cigarette. With hand-rolled cigars, it's usually the whole leaf, and you get more control on the blend, and it's slower burning. It's not going to be as bitter or as harsh as a short-filtered cigar. So.
Well, cool. What do you recommend I try here? I don't really smoke too much, so let's. What do we do?
I recommend this one right here, the Damaso from Padron. It's very smooth, a milder cigar since you don't smoke. I don't want you to get anything too strong. It's made in Nicaragua.
Ah, pero yo soy nicaragüense, jodido.
Yep, Nicaragua.
How much is this?
14.
Okay, you got anything a little more economic?
Nope.
All right, really? Way to twist my arm. Well, why don't we go smoke this thing then, huh? So I've never really smoked a cigar, so I'm going to try to do this right. Okay, so what do I do?
So you just kind of want to pull it in your mouth, but don't inhale.
Okay,
so
like...
Right.
That's pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a pretty cool guy. Me and hang out with George Clooney and stuff, smoking cigars. So... Also, I should mention that I know Peter from back in my high school days. Me and Peter actually went to high school together. Isn't that right?
I mean, elementary school, too. You're forgetting about that.
I blocked those years out of my life, out of my brain. So celebrities like to smoke cigars. Any famous celebrities or interactions and stuff with the store?
I've sold cigars to Ray Lewis and Ocho Cinco,
cool.
Jeff Ross. But the most notable is Bill Cosby, believe it or not.
Okay. My night is ruined. Frankly.
Well, you asked the question. I'm just being honest. All right, that'll be $60.76, and friends and family discount is $71.61.
All right, thanks. It's good to know friends in high places.
Here's your cigars, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of Tampa and go enjoy my stogies.
Nope, get out. Don't call them that, get out.
OMG, that was so sick. Well, we're back, well actually we're not back in Ybor City. I took you guys to a different part of Tampa. That's right, they exist. Ybor City isn't the only place with history. I'm actually walking down Bayshore Boulevard here. This is a very important strip here, all around Tampa Bay. Oh, look at that, Tampa Bay. Anywho, across the water you can see downtown Tampa. Pretty little area, they're developing that. There's a whole river walk along the Hillsborough River that they're developing as well. The Hillsborough River, named after the Earl of Hillsborough. When this was, Florida was actually a British colony. West Florida hired this guy to, you know, go in and map it out. And to honor the Earl of Hillsborough, they named it the Hillsborough River. You have over here Davis Island on the other side. It's where all the fancy houses are. A lot of them are. Man-made islands, actually, made to actually house some of the fancier houses. In fact, Tom Brady lives over there. Oh, and Derek Jeter's old house. How cool is that? You can take your boat and just go start, you know, throwing beer cans into his lawn. Kind of cool. And over here you have along Bayshore some very fancy houses as well, which is pretty cool. The only problem is when it rains a lot, which it does in Florida, this area floods, so people have to go in their canoes into their, you know, multi-million-dollar houses. So I guess you win some, you lose some. Over here to the left, you have a pretty cool place. This here to the left is the you know, Academy of Holy Names. This school was actually started in 1891. The building itself dates back to the 1920s. More importantly, oh my God, I finished 8th grade here. Yeah, they do a pretty good job, even though a lot of the nuns hated me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, so if you continue down this way, you get all the way back to downtown where we're talking about cigars, right? In Cigar City, that's what Tampa's known for. There are other industries here. Obviously, the port is very important. That's why Henry Plant wanted his train to come down here. They still do a lot of different businesses in the port of Tampa, one of which is shrimping, believe it or not. One of the most historic shrimping companies on the Gulf Coast is actually run by a friend of mine. Why don't we go visit him now? So I'm here at Versaggi Shrimp Company at the Tampa docks. I'm actually with the owner, yeah, no big deal, a friend of mine from high school, believe it or not, Justin Versaggi. How's it going?
It's going good. It's good to see you. I'm glad you made it down.
I made it back down to Tampa.
Yep.
They said it couldn't be done, but I did it.
Believe it or not, we have a 20-year high school reunion coming up.
We have a 20-year high school reunion coming up this year, actually. Yeah, it's we'll be there. We're going to take a shrimp boat and pull up and just walk out like kings. Well, anyways, explain to me what it is you guys do here.
We run shrimp boats, so we've got 5 of them, and we fish them all year long.
And there aren't a lot of shrimp companies in the Gulf, right?
There's not a lot left, no. At one point in time, there was about 10,000 boats fishing the Gulf of Mexico, but for whatever reasons, it's gotten down to about 3 or 4 major players that are left.
So you'd consider yourself a major player?
Well, that was aggressive. I don't know about a major player, but we're one of the last few that are still standing,
okay.
Put it that way.
So how does the actual shrimping work from this area? They leave for how long?
Well, they leave out of here, yeah. They leave out of here, we fill them up with fuel, and they go for about 3 to 4 weeks. They primarily fish down off Key West and the Tortugas, so it takes about a day to run down there, and it's pretty simple. They fish at night. The pink shrimp are nocturnal, so when the sun goes down, they set out, and when the sun comes up, they pick up.
All right, and also this is a family-run business for how many generations?
Well, it's been 4. I'm the 4th generation, so we started 1912.
And you guys used to actually supply shrimp to the Fulton Fish Market, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Well, let's take a look at one of the ships, huh?
Sure, yeah, come aboard.
So we're on the SS Perseverance, is that right?
FV, fishing vessel.
Oh, okay, never mind. So explain to me how an actual shrimping expedition would go.
Well, if you and I were going out fishing, the first thing we're going to do is drop these really big outriggers, okay?
So they would just be like arms?
They go down. They just go down for stability, and that's actually how we get our nets outside down to the bottom,
right?
And they drag the bottom. So
when you actually drag along the ground of the ocean floor, they actually have to take chains to make the
so a lot of the chain you see is tickler. They call it tickler chain, and it just creates a vibration.
Chains.
Yeah, tickler.
Where can I get one of those? Huh? I could use a tickler chain myself.
So when they get their catch on board, they dump it right here by pulling these strings. So these strings come out, the catch goes everywhere, and then you got everything that's on the bottom. I mean, you've got all kinds of species of fish. You got squid, octopus, crabs,
roller skates,
everything. Roller skates, toilets,
Volkswagen Beetles. And they sift through it, and then they just get rid of all the refuse.
All of the what they call bycatch, it just goes out the scupper holes. So they get rid of that, and then following the boats, you got porpoise, you got shark, you got tuna, bonita.
So each shrimping expedition has a whole entourage of fish following it.
Yeah, essentially, and that's why you'll see a lot of charter boat captains that are out for recreational fun. They follow shrimp boats.
Look at that. You left your last job. You worked for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I did.
You left that to come work in the family business, right?
Yeah. As far as what this and the Lightning represented to me, I mean, it couldn't be more apple and oranges. I mean, it's just night and day. But some of the same business principles apply. So, but 3 years into it, I'm removed from that, and I feel like this is my new beginning, my new home, and it's working out. So.
All right. So what do you love about Tampa?
Small town feel. I love the water. We're right down here, surrounded by it. Entire family's here, so it's home.
All right. So when's the next expedition going out?
I think 3 or 4 days. We're almost got the Raven ready to go. We're just waiting on a captain. Know anybody?
I mean, we went to high school together, man. I feel like that should give me some points, huh?
Yeah, it should, and you're hired. Just like that.
I really like your hiring practices. You really
Boom.
vet.
I can tell. I can just look and tell you have the experience. And
I mean, this beard's got to give me some points, right?
Let's
All
go.
right, now we just got to figure out how to get to Tortuga. Does this thing have Google Maps?
We'll go with GPS. We got GPS.
All right,
2021.
well, perfect. Well, thanks for hanging out today, man.
No, I appreciate you guys coming by.
Well, if that wasn't sick, I don't know what was, or what is for that matter, right? Well, with that, I just continue to walk here a little bit and tell you that, Tampa's a pretty cool place. We go way back to the 1560s when Hernan de Soto was the first guy to kind of take Tampa Bay and go up the Tampa side of Florida, and, that ended up being kind of a disaster, but he was kind of the first person to really officially explore this area. Fast forward, we talked about how it was a British colony, after it was a Spanish colony, then back to the Spanish, then to the United States in the 1800s. There's a lot of violence towards the Native Americans here and back and forth here throughout the 1800s, kept this place pretty sparsely populated. Late 1800s, the railroads come in, cigars come in, it blows up. 1900s, early 1900s, 1920s. You have obviously World War I in the 19-teens. That brought some people here. You had the Spanish-American War in the 1898. That brought people here. Then you had World War II. MacDill Air Force Base was built in 1941. A little further down that way. That brought some people here. Tourism blows up in the 1920s, 1930s, continues on. That brings more people here. And Tampa and Florida starts to grow throughout the 1900s. Pretty recent phenomenon here. Pretty cool and interesting history. And, with that, I got to kind of tell you guys, it's sad, but true. This is where I'm going to end the tour. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's really pretty view. I don't know what more you need to end a tour, but with that, please like the video. I'm sure you did. So give it the little thumbs up. That helps the old analytics. The analytics, a tale as old as time, like the bays and the waters and the mountains of the world. Analytics. We're slaves to the analytics. So please. That's right. That guy's got a motorcycle. He wants to let everybody know that. So yeah, like the video. Also, please subscribe. That helps a lot. And also, more importantly, check out the Patreon. That is a huge, huge help. I'm trying to grow this thing, trying to grow it, baby. So in the description, there's a link. Check it out. There's extras. It'd be a big help. And with that, I got to go to dinner now. I'm going to go to dinner on the water in Tampa before going back to Florida. Sorry, not back to Florida. Although Florida is, they say, the 6th borough, I'm going back to New York here very soon. I'm going to go eat on the water. At a restaurant, obviously, not just hanging my legs over the edge. But yeah, did I forget anything, Lucie?
No.
Thank you. Thank you for that reassuring no. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna finish off here and just keep on moving. How's it going there? How you doing? Yeah. Well, for the record, he did not wave back, but people here are very friendly. Okay. See you later. That's it.